All right, so our third tier 2 set is going to be is going to be wow, I got to look at my I got confused for a second. Okay, it is going to be Wrench versus Medyas. Medyas.
All right.
Wrench is a great guy. Known him from a long time. We were both in a StarCraft 2 clan, which is Psi X, now Alpha X. But so seen him around for a long time, and I'm really glad that he joined CPL. So, and also Magus as well. Played him a ton last season. Great guy. Had some really fun PVTs with him, and I expect this to be a fun PVT as well. Both players not extremely aggressive.
Yeah, I played Medyas in a ZVT, and I would guess just from that set of games that his PVT is actually pretty strong. He seemed really comfortable with mech units in that series. He executed sort of like a 9-minute 30 timing, like a siege tank timing push, which is not something you usually see in CVT. But generally, players that are more comfortable with mech, they kind of like those bio tank styles in CVT as opposed to going SK Terran. It's a lot less skills to learn, um, less APM intensive, and you have more timings that are open to you to sort of exploit weaknesses when Zerg is trying to tech up. So I'm really interested to see how he plays PvT.
Yeah. So Magus is one of those players that I feel really even against in terms of PvT, or at least this is in the last season. Felt really even with him, a couple players, and I personally really love PvT. So when I'm against a Terran that I feel evenly matched against, it's my favorite matchup in Brood War easily. So, and I think that these Wrench and Magus are pretty evenly matched as well. So should be a great game.
Yeah, I don't know how this happened, but I actually thought you were Wrench for like a really long time. I think like someone in CPL Discord was like looking for you for a game or something, and someone mentioned Wrench's name, and so I thought this was just like an alt account that you had or something like that. And you were both Protoss, and you were both on the same team, and I was like, so.
Yeah, dude,
I don't know
Wrench
how
is
that
a
happened,
myth.
but...
I made him up so I could play twice in CPL.
yeah, so you could get those double matches, man. Everyone wants to play more in CPL. More best of ones, man. So no gasless expand or anything like that from Medyas. This was just like a very normal barracks expand maybe. Or could still be like something like siege expand if he decides to wall here. I think you can do a wall here if you put the factory to the right of the barracks. I'm not too familiar. I think that's what he's doing right now. It looks like there's like a gigantic gap, but I think it's actually tight. Maybe I'm not sure if this is the same position as the one that I cast yesterday, but regardless, late scout for both players, so
Yeah.
and immediate Dragoon range for Wrench off of one gate.
He went range first, right? Range before Goon.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between going Goon then range or range then Goon are pretty minute. If you want to get out of the map early and micro around, then I think it translates to something like 10 seconds of having that range. Then that can be some players will like to do that, and I think you see that more at the high level where players are going to try to micro the absolute most out of their Dragoons. But the thing is that it does delay your Goon a little bit, so your Goon's a little bit later, so if they're doing something really cheesy, it's a little bit less safe, but it's not a huge difference at all.
Now I do know a specific like punish for this build, going range first, which I saw Nyokin do actually. He does this wall and then pretends like he's just gonna do a normal siege expand, puts a bunker out in front, and lets the Dragoons hit it, and he's repairing it and everything. But there's actually no command center behind it, and he's just two-facting. But I'm disappointed that no CPL players have pulled it off thus far, because when you're in this position, you can actually prevent the probe from entering your base at all, so they won't actually see if you have gas. Obviously, they can see your factory, your initial factory, but they can't see a second factory building. But wow, this Dragoon is actually bullying its way up the ramp, and it sees the command center.
So this is goon tight, huh?
Yeah, it looks like it, and no add-on being researched at the shop, but this tank is gonna come out and push the goon back.
Oh, loses the goon. Okay, so that's
Wow, yeah.
I don't know. I would not like to take that risk from Wrench. Losing your goon, not very strong. You know, maybe get the one Marine and leave while you still can. Once the tank's out, immediately leave. So losing that goon is very unfortunate.
Robo. So this is interesting, but for sure he's taking a okay, he adds a second gateway, so it's just a little bit different. Taking the Nexus, it was Nexus Robo Gateway, I believe. But siege mode is on the way, and it should be ready in time for this for these Dragoons. I don't think any more pressure is going to be coming out of Wrench.
Yeah, this is the super standard PVT. It's the 28 Nex. You get your Robo up very fast to get an OBS in the base ASAP. And then for something like Siege Expand, getting a second gateway before your third Nexus. If you want to be super greedy, then you can go for one gate into third Nexus, but going 2 gates a little bit safer and a little bit more common.
Yeah, definitely risky going for 3 bases off of 1 gate. I've seen Protosses before on ladder do 1 gate, 3 triple Nexus off of a single Dragoon. So definitely a lot of different greedy options for the Protoss. He's just gonna get his third Nexus up fairly normal time, continue to produce goons. Observers coming out. Siege mode is done, so there's not really any pressure coming out. He's got his comsats. So, and upgrading +1 weapons from the armory. And he's already getting a third command center though. I wonder if this is gonna be like a 6 o'clock expansion, but this seems very, very fast. I'm not super familiar with these PVT timings, but this is like a 6:30 third command center.
Yeah, I've seen it before. It definitely is a bit earlier than we will see all the time. The OBS here coming in for Wrench, once he scouts that, then he has some options. He can try to be aggressive and punish that fast third, or he can try to take a fast fourth himself. So he's probably going to be taking the natural or the main and the others cross map from himself. Most likely not going to take the 3 o'clock position here.
Yeah, I don't know. This is weird. Medyas is going for Charon boosters and Goliaths. So no vulture speed, no mines. You know, I think I don't know. I think this would be a very difficult hold on a third base if you were to try and plant this immediately, because you don't have the map control and the harass that the speed vultures provide. He's just gonna go pure tank Goliath, I suppose. I don't know, this strikes me as being quite risky.
It's all about getting the siege up before the goons are here, and I think he's gonna get it. The goons can run, if it's only one tank, the goons can just run up and snipe it, but with the second tank here, with the Goliath and the Marines, I don't think that it's gonna cost way too much to run up here. Yeah, now that there's the depots, it's over. So I think Wrench had an opportunity to delay that third. Now one thing is that the CC was just on the edge of the OBS vision, so it's possible he saw it, but it didn't register with him. You know, it was in his vision, but he didn't see it in that sense. So Medyas is going to get away with a very fast third here. He's going to, you know, start getting saturation about the same time that Wrench is getting his third. So this means that Wrench is going to need to start looking for his fourth base soon. His timing in terms of his tech is quite good. He's got the Sorry going to finish up now, so he can get the Tribunal pretty much right away. So it's going to be nice and fast Arbiters if he goes for that.
And it looks like he's got a turret building at the front right under the Observer. Let's see if it's gonna... Oh no, okay. I figured you know, with the Goliath there, it's not going to work. But I don't even think that bug is legal in CPL anyway. But it was a possibility there.
Oh,
Um,
I think it is because that's legal on Icy Cup.
oh, is it really?
I'm pretty
I
sure.
know there's a big spreadsheet on Liquipedia on which bugs are legal in tournaments and which aren't. But I need to check that. But Double Armory is up, not taking a second upgrade quite yet. But I think with this style, with this fast third base, you can really afford to power up to 3-2 super quickly. And I do like Wrench's response, though. Knowing that there's a third base, is just going to take his fourth and fifth bases at the same time. Just going for this huge powering style, hoping that Terran is going to remain on this on his side of the map pretty much.
Yeah, I'm really liking Wrench's build here. His timings. He's getting his Arbiter out at a good time. He's getting Stasis first, which is correct. And he's going to start adding on more gateways now. And he's got Storm and a Shuttle as well. So, all in all, very strong. Okay, that was a money scan, though. So, pretty much all the relevant tech.
And yeah, this is just... regardless, this is going to come really fast. I mean, this is going to be like an 11-minute Arbiter or something. Or 11-15 Arbiter or something like that. Off of, you know, with 5 bases behind it. That's really strong. So I like this response. You know, he was maybe a little late to see the third base, but didn't try to commit all of his Dragoons up the ramp to try and kill it or something like that. Just going to take the entire map, basically, and just win in the late game.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep Medyas on 3 bases here. If he can keep Medyas on 3 bases, then that's going to be... now, the thing is that Terran can produce an insane amount off of 3 bases, but if Wrench's game plan is to contain him, that's going to work out pretty well on Fighting Spirit, because it is harder for Terran to push out to the 4th base if he's not out on the map.
And wow, Medyas is going to go for 3 add-ons on 1 base, or 3 add-ons on 3 bases. So this is going to be a very tank-heavy style, which I think is actually correct. I don't think the Vultures are going to have much equity in this game. Wrench has turtled very well. Now that he has this 4th base over in the top left, that's also guarding his 5th base in the very corner. You know, Vulture run-bys are not going to accomplish very much. Wrench has a lot of map control, maybe even posturing to take this base too. Oh wow, intercepting this dropship. That is huge. That is huge. Star Sense by Wrench.
Yeah, with that Observer in the base. That's the thing, is that keeping the Observer in the base for a long time is so strong, because think about this. This is a pylon. Okay, never mind. There's cannons there, not pylons. But still, that drop would be a pain. It would delay mining, a decent bit of mining, force Wrench to get a bunch of units over here. He doesn't have a super high Zealot count yet. But the only thing over there were goons. That would be very annoying for Wrench, to say the least. So sniping that is quite strong. I'm very impressed with both players' mechanics, though, especially Wrench's. But Mage is not doing too bad as well. I think Wrench is going to get maxed when Medyas is about 160, 170.
Yeah.
So, and recall is done as well. Where's the first Arbiter? I'm trying to find it. What's the mana like on that? It's about 115. So I think that Wrench is going to be able to get a recall off before Medyas is moving out. And if you can start just chaining recalls, I would like to see another Stargate from Wrench. But if you can start chaining recalls so that they're non-stop, that's a really strong play. And there's a decent amount of turrets here. Actually, there's going to be quite a few turrets. There aren't any mines, though. So I think that an Arbiter could still get in here and get a good recall off.
Yeah, just now beginning to lay mines at the 3rd base. I guess the 3rd base is the most is the juiciest location for a recall. But, you know, Wrench has had this group of Dragoons roaming around the map for pretty much this entire game, and has not seen any of Medyas' units cross the river yet. So I think the story of this game is going to be, is Medyas going to move out and force stasis, or is he going to delay his move out and maybe be subject to a recall? we see a massive army by Wrench. He's completely maxed and beginning to build up a bank, moving across the map. 2 Arbiters. One of them is almost at 200 energy, the other's almost at 100. So I think he's going to be able to take a decent fight here.
He's actually just going to wait for Magus to come to him, and that's a pretty strong move. You know, personally, I like recalling. Kind of switches the pressure on, but Wrench's macro is very good. He's got a nice cluster of gates at the natural, although it's a pretty heavy Artosis pylon. Decent amount of gates in the main, and he's getting his fleet beacon, second Stargate. He needs to get upgrades for his ground units, but strong play from Wrench here with the amount of gates. Can continue to add him as well.
Oh wow, yeah, he's still on 0-0. That's actually very surprising. I mean, this is 2-1 Terran pushing into 0-0 Protoss, and here comes the fight.
But a sick on Conclave. Stasis in the back. Can put a storm there. Would be very juicy. EMP on the Arbiter was nice. Wow, that was a perfectly taken fight.
He's still got 1 spell left on his Arbiter, his remaining Arbiter. And this is going to be a hard... Actually, these stasis are placed in such a way it's going to be hard for Wrench to continue pushing in here. Reinforcements coming out for Medyas now, streaming right into the front line, basically.
But overall...
Medyas' third base continues to mine. He's got his 4th command center. Question is, where is he going to be able to take it?
Yeah, the real question is... what I was going to say is that was a really good fight for Wrench. He didn't lose very many goons at all. The only thing he lost were Zealots and basically mana on his Arbiters. That's it. And those things, the mana replenishes, and Zealots, they take a second to produce. They're like Vultures. So, a very good fight for him. And if he can continue to take those fights, if Magus doesn't have a 4th base, he's not going to be able to sustain that. Now, like you said, Magus floating that 4th base up, that's going to be the tipping point here is, can Magus get a 4th base?
And now Wrench is building up. I mean, he's got 5k, 2k in the bank, so even now he's got leeway to take even a disastrous fight and still bounce back from something like this. But every time he pushes in like this, he's saying, I'm still here, stay in your base, you know? Don't move out because I have the potential to just smash into you like a sledgehammer right now. All these Dragoons, mines are not laid down in time. Stasis on the tanks in the front.
Okay,
now Zealot's on top of his mech units right now.
He needs to pull back now because he's going to start to get some really fat hits on these goons with all these tanks. Yeah, they just melt. Goodbye, goons. So, you know, if he would have pulled back there, then that would have been perfect. But he lost like 15, 20 goons, and it's really hard to reproduce goons.
Yeah.
They take so long, and then also it's just, they're cumbersome. So that was a blunder. I think one of the first blunders we've seen from Wrench, serious ones. Although, if he has an Arbiter with enough for recall, it doesn't look like he does. But I'd really like to see him throw in a recall here, just to mix it in.
And luckily, Wrench was macroing that entire time. He's got all of these units queued up perfectly. You don't have any idle units sitting in the gateways for the most part. Already back at 200.
Yeah, very strong production from Wrench.
And now Medyas has a little bit of map control.
Ooh, big mine.
He really needs to be mining up towards where his 4th base is. That 4th base is just sitting there naked right now. No SCVs, no mining going on. The sooner he can get that online, the better. And then maybe he can begin to have some ambitions about pushing into these bases.
Yeah, I'd like Magus to see, while Wrench doesn't know about that base, send a bunch of SCVs, get some defensive mines, some tanks up there. He needs to do that now if he wants to be able to play a longer game.
Yeah, and Medyas has about 25 SCVs that he's going to transfer over to that 4th base now. Main is completely mined out. Vespene gas in the main almost depleted, and Wrench is going to come in again. 4 Arbiters this time. Oh my gosh, these tanks are so clumped. Oh my word. I think Wrench is just going to blast through this now. Almost every tank got stasis. those that are reinforcing are not sieged up.
Yeah, very impressive stasis. And he needs to be careful. He needs to pull back now because the goons, once those tanks get unstasis, it's just going to be the blue goo hour for these goons here. Now, Medyas did get a very large clump of SCVs up to that new 4th base. And, okay, now he sees, so he's pulling back, and luckily he's not going to get that tank fire. So this is the thing, is that I would have liked to see Medyas really prioritize getting tanks up there. I think that he could have had tanks, mines, depots up here now, so that it's not a given thing for these units to shut down this 4th. There is a 4th now building at that other natural, but still, this is a huge loss, delaying the 4th even longer.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he was planning on taking this base beforehand, because he was mining to the south, maybe to prevent a wraparound, but he didn't push towards his newly taken 4th base. And that was just really efficient play from Wrench. He knocked Medyas down to about 100 supply, and with his retreat, managed to knock out the 4th base. All the while macroing, and he's back up to 200 again.
Looks like Wrench is sending a force of Zealots to this 3rd base. Like that. Just going to try to pound it at...
yeah.
Send some Zealots, which are not, they're kind of like lings here, sort of, in this PvT situation.
Yeah, very much so. And I think now he's got Dragoons there, this is a much more impressive attack. Getting on top of this bunker, I mean, what are Marines going to do? And this base is, almost mined out. There's only about, I'd say maybe 2k minerals left in this base total, 2.5k gas. But still, any mining that he can deny is huge at this point.
Oh, the mine drag
can reestablish his base. Ooh, yeah. He has a lot of mines over on this east side, actually. Possibly placed to defend against a recall, but... yeah, this base has been ransacked now, and no attempt has been made to retake the 4th base. So now his hopes are all pinned on this, I guess you would call it the 5th base, down in the bottom left. And there is no defense here whatsoever. I don't even know how he's going to get units there. Wrench is just parked right on top of these siege tanks. They're going to get picked off.
Yeah, Wrench very strong. Keeping his contingent of goons alive. Okay, that was a money EMP, though.
Wow, amazing EMPs.
So, there's not going to be any spells for quite a while now. And the Arbiter count, what is it at now? It's at 5, and with more Arbiters on the way. Okay, carriers on the way, my mistake. No, he's got 2 at home, though, so it's about 7. This is the point where you need to start getting air armor for your Arbiters at this point.
Yeah, and I'd actually like to see Wrench try and take this this 3 o'clock base that Medyas was trying to take, because it would sort of his units are going to be in that area naturally, because Medyas is trying to control the area across the river outside of his main base. So as long as Wrench is there, Medyas' movement is limited, and so I don't think there's much risk to taking a fight there or taking a nexus there. Gonna push in again. No energy on the Arbiters, but only a single science vessel. Yeah, these tanks are still stasised. And Wrench's macro is just insane. He's just constantly maxed.
He's actually going pure goon here, which at the end of the game can be pretty strong, because with all the mines, the Zealots can be tricky to control them. But GG is called, and wow, very fun macro PvT game. And the thing that sticks out to me most in that game is that Wrench had an upper hand for quite a while, but Brood War is not a game where once you get an upper hand, it's over. He had to fight for a decent amount of time to close that game out.
Absolutely. And I really liked his response when he became aware of the 3rd base. He just, he's saying, oh, you want to take a fast 3rd base? Well, I'll take a fast 4th and 5th bases. And that's actually all it took to close out the game. The story of that game really was just Medyas having a difficult time taking that 4th base. And maybe there could have been some different moves there, moved his army a little bit differently to try and secure that, but I think he was in a really rough position from the time that Wrench saturated those 5 bases and got into extremely quick Arbiter. from there, I think it's always difficult for Terran to win, but even more so if they don't have a 4-base economy.
Yeah, and I mean, Medyas was trying. He had that drop early, which he was trying to get off, but Wrench sniped it. And that's the thing. Wrench's vision was very good, very strong in that game as well. He wasn't really surprised by any vulture unbuys, any drops. So very strong play from him, and a great fight from Medyas.
Yeah, absolutely. Very impressed by both players.